So standing at the front of your mat with your big toes almost touching and your heels ever so slightly apart. Just bend your knees. Feel as if you're pushing your groins forward, so you're gently flattening out your lower back. Extend out through the crown of your head, but try not to let your ribs flare. Bring your fingers to touch, elbows up to the ceiling, armpits to the floor, rounding out your back, your upper back, and bringing your chin in to lengthen both the front and the back of your neck. Just gently tilt your weight forward so that your toes have to grip the ground. Relax into your breathing, soften the tummy. We're going to do a fairly strong vinyasa. I'm going to offer you modifications and you can work up to the harder variations as time goes on. So maybe for now, just stick with the easier variations. Now when you're ready, just bringing your arms down and then gently bringing your arms up to the ceiling, taking care to make sure that your bottom doesn't stick out. Lengthen the spine, lengthen into the fingertips. Gentle spinal roll, fingertips to the floor. From here, gripping the mat with your right foot, take your left leg out behind you. And you're just gently rolling your left thigh inward slightly. Now you can either stay here or you can try a twisting half moon pose, Pavrita Ardha Chandrasana. Now we want to try and move from the trunk. So popping your right hand on your tummy, check your belly is relaxed. Little breath in, turn from your belly button all the way to the right side. Now you could leave your right hand on your hip or you could extend into your right fingertips. You could always pop your left toe tip on the ground or you could try to lift your left leg a little bit higher. Gently softening into the tummy, softening into the breathing. To come into the next pose, maybe pop your right hand onto the small of your back. That will give you a little bit of stability, I should say. And then take your left leg back to the floor. Feel as if you're pushing into the ball of the left foot and make all the adjustments to make the lunge nice and strong. We're continuing with the twist, so you're turning from your tummy again to the right side, possibly extending into your right fingertips if you can. Try squeezing your front heel to the opposite side of your mat and you'll find that also helps you feel stronger. And feel free if you need to drop the left knee, the back knee, onto the ground. Now maybe you're going to stay here. If you feel like you'd like to make this a little bit more dynamic, we're going to do a standing side stretch. So possibly coming up, extending into the left fingertips, right fingertips to the floor, leaning slightly forward and imagining that you're taking your left fingertips to about 1 o'clock. Now from here we could go back into the same twist we just did, or we could try a harder one. Palms together and gently pushing the upper left arm into the right thigh and resisting with the right thigh. If you wanted to make this one even harder, you could move towards taking the left fingertips to the floor perhaps and bringing the right arm up and over. And then from here, one hand either side of the front foot. Now from here we're going to come back into a one-legged down dog. So if it's possible for you, take the right leg back and up. If it's not possible for you at the moment, maybe make that a one-legged cat pose. Again, try squeezing your back heel, the left heel, to the opposite side, perhaps rolling your right thigh in. Now from here we're going to bring the right foot between the hands. If you find it difficult from this position, you can always drop down into a cat pose and you can use your right hand maybe just to assist getting that right foot between the hands. Otherwise, from a one-legged down dog, maybe take your weight over to the left palm slightly. Maybe just come onto the right fingertips, gives you a little bit of swinging room. And gently try and bring the right foot between the hands. Just checking the position of your front foot. Making sure that your knee and your ankle are in one nice straight line. From here we're going to drop the back heel to the ground. So we're going to try Parsvakonasana. So what we need to do is push the right bottom forward towards the right heel. And make sure there's space between the right armpit and the right thigh. Gently bring your left arm forward and try and imagine in this pose that you're pushing your tailbone to the back heel and your right sitting bone forward. If you can do all those things, then maybe you could work towards turning your belly button up towards the ceiling. Keep your front ribs in so your front ribs aren't flaring. It's a fairly strong and intense pose. And then from here, we're going to try and come up into a warrior two. So bring your left arm down and carefully coming up into a warrior two. And then from here into a bound reverse warrior. So your left arm wraps, right arm goes back. Now the easier version of the next pose is just bringing your right forearm to your right thigh. A little bit more challenging is bringing your right fingertips to the inner right foot. Super challenging, not for everybody, maybe right at this moment, is bringing your right thumb and index finger to cup the right heel. Maybe shimmying your back foot back a little bit, squaring your hips. And then working towards bringing your forearm, possibly your forehead one day, down towards the ground. And then from here, just coming back into the lunge with the ball of the back foot on the floor. From here, shimmying your back leg back a little bit, dropping your back knee to the ground if you can, possibly the top of the back foot on the floor as well. So this pose can be quite challenging and you need to be very careful for your knee. So what I'm going to do is lean over onto the left palm, pivot the front of my foot using the heel so that my knee and my toes are tracking all the way to the right side, and also want to make sure my belly button turns to the right side as well. And then from here, maybe I'm going to rest my right hand on the back leg and just gently push my hips forward and just look gently over my right shoulder. And coming back carefully into the lunge. Lifting the back knee off the floor, bringing maybe the back foot a little bit closer, rounding out the back. And then breathing in, bringing the back foot forward and carefully, gently, nice spinal roll without letting the bottom stick out. Fingers to the floor and all ready for the second side. So this time we're gripping the mat with the left foot, taking the right leg just briefly out behind. Maybe you need to stay here, or you could try the twisting half moon pose, Pavrita Ardha Chandrasana. Popping the left hand on the belly, breathing in, turning your belly button to the left side, possibly raising the left arm if you can. But just making sure that that movement is from the trunk, not just from the left pec. And then from here, with the left hand on the small of your back, come back into a lunge. Just make the adjustments. Front sitting bone pushes forward, back sitting bone pushes back. Turning your tummy more to the left side, possibly raising your left arm if you can. Now it's possible you might want to just stay here. If you want to make this a little bit more dynamic, again, coming up into a side stretch. Left fingertips to the floor. Leaning slightly forward and imagining that your right fingertips are making their way to 11 o'clock. Now from here we could do the same twist that we've already done, or we could do the harder one, palms together, pushing the upper right arm into the left thigh and resisting back. Otherwise, even more challenging, right fingertips to the ground perhaps, left arm forward. And then from here, back into one-legged down dog if it's possible for you. Otherwise, one-legged cat pose works just as well. And to maintain stability in this pose, squeeze if you can the back heel to the opposite side. Try and roll your left thigh in. Now to bring the back foot between the hands, again, we could come down into a cat pose and we could use the left hand for assistance to bring the left foot through. Otherwise, we're going to take the weight over onto the right palm, maybe come up onto the left fingertips and create that little bit of swinging room around to the left side to bring the foot through. Just check the position of your front foot. Make sure that your heel and your knee are in alignment. And dropping the back heel to the floor, just gently push your front sitting bone forward, tailbone to the back heel. Make sure there's a bit of space again between your left armpit and your left thigh. And you're distributing your weight evenly between the front and the back of your body. From here, maybe sweep your right arm forward. And if that feels comfortable, work towards turning your belly button towards the ceiling, armpit towards the ear, and try and keep your front ribs in. So you're not flaring, but you're lengthening down the right side. If possible, from here, come into a warrior two, extending between your fingers. Trying again to keep your front ribs in. Reverse warrior, wrapping the right arm, taking the left arm over to the right side. An easier variation of the next pose is just left forearm on the left thigh. So an easier variation of Parsvakonasana. You could bring your left fingertips down towards the ground to make it a bit more challenging. Now the harder version might be not for everybody at this moment, but it's something that you can work towards. Uttana Parsvakonasana, left thumb and index finger cupping the left heel, shimmying the back foot back, and then from here, squaring your hips and working towards bringing your forearm, possibly your forehead, a little bit closer to the ground. And then from here, coming back into the lunge, one hand either side of the front foot, dropping the back knee to the ground and pressing the top of your back foot also into the floor. Next pose can be challenging, so you might just want to make it a gentle twist. Full pose is sinking into the right palm, pivoting on your left heel, just taking care that your knees and your toes are tracking in the same direction. Working towards turning your belly button to the left side, pushing your hips over to the left side, maybe resting your left arm on the back leg and looking gently over the left shoulder. And then from here, coming carefully back into the lunge, lifting up the back knee and bringing the back foot a little bit closer, rounding out your back, leaning forward, breathing in, back foot forward. Nice, soft, gentle spinal roll. Try not to let the bottom stick out, gently extending into the fingers. And then back to the first position, fingers touching, elbows up, armpits to the floor,